There we go.
Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, three-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go Devils!
Thank you so much for that intro, Kenny. That was very kind of you. What's up, boys?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up?
What a difference a goalie makes, huh, guys?
Ooh,
It's like a different team.
Yeah, it's so nice to see, yet so depressing, right? It's just like, God damn it.
It totally illustrates that these are the moves that we could have made earlier that would have helped.
Yeah, my trust in Tom Fitzgerald is extremely waned for, a lot.
Yeah,
so,
it's an all-time low. I'm hoping
yeah.
he turns it around. I don't know. He could. See him have a good offseason and hope he doesn't make these mistakes again because he has done a lot of good in the past. But, at this point, you're like, man, if you would have just pulled these triggers a little earlier, look at what we got going now.
he's saying some of the right things now, too, right? He's talking about the general structure of the team and the deficiencies that we've seen since last year, into the year, and through the playoffs. So hopefully he stands by that and realizes that, maybe you can't keep all the shiny things all at once.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking the other day, the only time that we heard from him before the trade deadline was when he came out talking about his extension and his promotion to president of hockey operations. So It was all about you, apparently, in the beginning of the year, huh, Tom? Like, you didn't do anything for the team to help these guys out. But you got your extension and your promotion, so good on you, bud. But what'd you guys think of that Maple Leaf game on Tuesday night?
Well, that was pretty spectacular. I mean, they were like a force of nature that game. I mean, and goaltending again saved them. It was nice to finally see. You know what? Everybody's coming alive. Jack looks great.
Brat.
Brat's on fire, right? I mean, we have no complaints with Jack, and that's a big turnaround from a couple weeks ago where it was like, what's going on with these guys?
Yeah. Another one of those will-to-win games. Like, they just were not going to lose that game for whatever reason. That was ingrained in them that day, and it started with Allen. Was that 25 shots in the first period?
25 in the first.
That's sick. That's a whole game.
Yeah.
And the guys just had it going.
I mean,
between Allen and everybody, I don't mind them playing with a 1 or 2 goal lead. I got to tell you, like, 1 or 2 goal lead was not safe enough all season long. And now, I mean, I'm starting to believe they can.
And it was a little bit of both in that Maple Leaf game, right? Like, you felt like once they got the lead, that they were going to be able to hold on because of Allen back there and how well he was playing. But at the same time, even when they were tied or fell behind, I had like no doubt in my head that they were going to be able to score. They were doing everything right. I mean, they, of course, they let it up a ton of shots. I think 41 shots on goal. That's a lot. But when this is kind of like what we expected from Vanacek and Schmid this year. I mean, how many times did we say they got to outscore the problems? That was a typical goalie kept you in it, gave you a chance, and then whatever other deficiencies or whatever else you lacked on the defensive end, you offensively made it up. And that was just a perfect game for what this team really is right now.
Yes.
Because, look, I mean, we know we keep looking at the standings, and tonight's a big night for the standings. What big games do we have tonight, guys? I don't know all. I know everyone's
Islanders,
playing.
Panthers, Philly, Montreal, and Pittsburgh Blue Jackets, I think, are games that we all got.
What about the Red Wings? Who do they have?
Red Wings, Carolina.
Yeah.
All right.
Which
So
is
maybe
on now.
Carolina can do something for us to help us out here.
We were remarking the last game that nobody helped us that night. I mean, it was good the Devils won, but boy, the team's giving away points to people we need to catch, and we couldn't catch a break even when I guess it was Philly lost. They still picked up a point.
And they were digged down like 2 goals late in the third too.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like they were tied the whole game. It's another one of those heartbreaks. A couple minutes left.
Right, like you look at that Philly's playing Montreal tonight. Like, I don't see any way Montreal wins that game. So give that at least. Hopefully, Carolina can maybe do some damage to Detroit there and keep them down a little bit. Washington is also playing, right?
Yeah, Washington's playing too.
Who do they have?
They have Toronto.
Oh, so maybe Toronto will be pissed, but I don't think Austin Matthews is playing.
I think he is playing. I don't think he
is? Okay.
skated this morning, but I think he is playing.
Okay. So, and then you look at our schedule and it's like, are we going to beat Toronto 2 more times? Are we definitely beating the Rangers, Nashville, Philly? Like, these are all the games we have left.
Hopefully we could beat the Sabres. I know that the Senators put up like 5 goals in the first period against them yesterday.
They scored 6 yesterday against them.
6-2.
But these are the games that I worry about. Okay, It was only a couple games ago against a team that's a lesser team, and look what happened. And to say that they did great against Toronto, that's awesome. Toronto was ahead of them in the standings, and if they would have lost, you would have at some level understand why. And these are the games that they shouldn't lose, and this is what has been the story all year. You're dropping the games you shouldn't lose. So we'll see. It's been such a nice turnaround. Has it been perfect? No. And one of the knocks since the recent turnaround is you still have dropped a couple games to lesser teams.
What's the percentage now? Like 13?
I think we were like at 14 or something.
Oh, I thought I saw 10 something today.
Yeah, I mean, it's
immediately after the game, they were claiming it was 13, but it goes up and down based on who else has played. And
sure, I mean, if all 3 of those teams in front of us lose tonight, we go up without doing anything.
Right.
Well, yeah, Dan, to your point, I was sitting there today and I was looking. I'm like, what exactly have they done since the goalies came in? I feel like we're winning way more than we're 3-2.
Even 12% even on Money Puck.
12%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Bob.
No, that was it. No, it was 4.
What'd you say? I wasn't listening.
I was looking at the stats since the goalies came in.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? That was started with the Dallas game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a win. That's 1.
Well, no, it was the Ranger game. That wasn't that Kakko Kakkonen's first start?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That's true.
Right.
And he played well, but they lost.
Yeah.
That's right. He did because Allen had the visa problems or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So we had the win against Dallas, the win against Pittsburgh, the win against the Jets, the win against the Islanders, and the win against Toronto. That's 5. We lost against the Rangers, the Coyotes, the Knights, and Ottawa. So it's still, for as well as they played, 5-4.
Yep. And we
1
still
game
have
out of
Ottawa
500.
And
Ottawa
when you look
was
at
a
it,
crusher, man. That was a crusher.
Ottawa was a crusher. And Phoenix, I think they definitely should have won that game too. So if you flip those 2 over, that's and that's what I can't say that the team has totally turned the corner because, since the goalies came in and they're definitely doing their job, even in the losses, the team manages to drop a couple here and there to lesser teams.
Yeah.
And, right now when everything's like so hyper focused on the points because you're just trying to get in the playoffs, we're really examining that hard. To some extent, your team's always going to let you down once in a while against a lesser team. We've always been familiar with that happening with the Devils and any other team. But, this has really been the story this year. Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, unless they have another level to kick it up to, which we haven't seen yet, and they should. I mean, if they did make the playoffs, they better have that other level. But this is when you have to kick it up there now. Like, if there is another level to this team, man, they got to get to it and see what they can do. Because right now, Washington is playing better hockey than the Devils. The Flyers are playing better hockey than the Devils. The Red Wings, I kind of think, like, you might be able to catch the Red Wings, but are you going to be able to catch 2 of those teams? Because it's pretty much 4 teams over 2 spots, right? So, yeah, and so let Philly and Washington kind of battle over that 3rd spot, and then it'll be us and Red Wings and whoever is left for that wild card spot. But it's going to be hard.
And Chris, I know you're not a draft guy. You're not into the draft picks and stuff, which I do believe the draft is important. But do you think? Do you guys think we're good enough to like? It says, have you guys seen anything this year to tell you that we're really able to compete in the playoffs this year? Like, do you think if we actually got in there, do we have the team that can actually compete, or should we kind of, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
You should never, ever throw it in. Where this team
never
is
throw
right
in your
now,
hat, but are we good enough to actually?
I mean,
be in the
you
dance?
Can't bet on us going far in the playoffs at this point, objective reality. But I do think this team has, like, if everything clicks right, this team has the ability to go on a run, and it could be a surprisingly long run. But, do I think it's going to happen? Boy, I don't even know if we're going to make it.
That's what
if
sucks,
we're going to make the playoffs, do I feel confident we're going to get out of the first round against anybody? Not necessarily. No, I can't feel confident with that. But I know the capabilities there. I mean, It's not like we got a team full of people who don't have talent. It's a matter of, can they keep this talent gel together? And the question is, like, if they make it into the playoffs, that's going to take an extraordinary run off of games. At that point, you will have to have some confidence in this team,
Right?
because they have just
That's where I
done
was gonna go
the
with it.
impossible.
Yeah.
Right? And then I might change my tune. From where I sit today, not only is it not likely they make the playoffs, if you magically put them in there, you can't expect them to go very far with the level they've been playing. Yes, like Bob said, even since the goalies, it's not been the kind of record that will necessarily make you go really far in the playoffs.
Well, and that's the problem, is I haven't seen that streak this year at all. I haven't seen anything to tell me that they can go on a run, which I hope they do. I mean, they've won 4 out of 5 right now, I think.
4 out of 5.
I mean,
Which, that's great. But, again, the runway is very short. So, on tomorrow night, how I kind of think today's and tomorrow's going to go, we're going to get everything that we need today, and they'll lose to Buffalo tomorrow. And that is only because of how I felt all year, just from the evidence we've seen all year. Now, like I said, if there's another level, they need to get to it now. And they need to, start playing that way, because I agree with what Dan said. If they were to make it at sitting with 9 games left, a 12% chance of getting in, and if they somehow got in, it would have to be not only other teams kind of falling off a little bit, but the Devils playing the best hockey of the season. So,
Right.
Montreal's winning 1-0 against the Flyers right now.
all right, stop the game then, and we're good.
And Maple
That's
Leafs
it.
won over the
Game
Caps.
over.
1-0
the
over
only-
the Caps.
the only
so
solace,
Maple
too-
Leafs won already?
No,
That's
they're
it.
1-0 over the
Oh, I
Caps.
thought you
1-0.
said they won. I'm sorry. Okay. I was like, what time was that game? All right. So, okay, Bobby, sorry.
Their ability to play better against the competition is a little comforting if by some magic we get in. Again, if we get in,
Right.
I think we're going to be playing a brand of hockey that'll probably warrant at least a legitimate chance of getting through a round or two. I don't know that we're odds-on Stanley Cup favorites by any means. But they do play a little better with the other teams. Short of Carolina, I wouldn't want to get them first round. I just think that they would bounce us quick. And collectively, of late, they are showing more of the ability to play those types of playoff games. But yeah, a long way to go. And logistically looking at what they've done so far this year, it doesn't paint a picture of, pushing through the playoffs by any means.
But if they win, they beat Buffalo and they beat Pittsburgh, their next 2 opponents, right? So then it would be, 6 out of the last 7. And then you go into a Wednesday night against the Rangers, that being a huge, huge game. And we'll talk about it next week more, but for so many different reasons. It's
Right.
not just the points. There is so much just pride and everything else that's on the line in that game. If they can win that game and maybe even win it, decidedly win it, I think that can really be a catalyst for the final push.
It's got to make you a
6
bit
or
of a
7
believer at that point.
Yeah.
Games.
If they can win now, if they go on that run and win the next 3, I mean,
Yeah.
that can then maybe those odds are clicking up over 50%, and then
I
you're
just
okay,
hope
it's
the
a fucking
team
coin
is
flip
not
now.
looking at all those things that we're thinking about right now. Because if you're the Devils, if you're that team, you just got to do a one game at a time thing.
Sure.
Because it's so overwhelming to look at the odds right now.
I mean, here's the
They're
thing. If we get there with, say, 3 out of the next 4 points at minimum, right, then that Ranger game becomes literally the biggest game of the year for all the reasons you just said. And it would keep this kind of streak going. But if we shit the bed on these next 2 games, we lose 2 in a row.
Yeah,
it's
right.
going to mean nothing.
Nope.
I mean,
that point,
I think that
I
game's
don't
still
see
going
it
to
happening.
mean a lot, but it won't be about playoffs.
It'll be more
That's
about
for
next
sure.
year. And
Yeah, exactly. And then the direction of the club and character,
And then maybe you take one of those guys out, so they're not going to be at 100% for their playoff run.
Oh, yeah,
That's-
absolutely.
If you lose the next 2, that your main goal in that Ranger game should just be hurt everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hurt
exactly.
everyone.
They're going to get us 1 point away from the playoffs and just break our hearts on the last
Could-
game.
Most likely.
Yeah.
It's most likely that's what's going to happen. But like I said, if you can get it to that coin flip, because the Devils do have one ace up their sleeve. They own tiebreakers over everybody above them.
Yep.
So even if we are tied at points with any one of those teams for one of those spots, it's ours.
Yep.
So
Because we got 0 points in overtime losses.
Yeah, and
All our
if
points
it comes,
are from
but and if it did come
regulation.
down to that, we'd be grateful for the fact that we were bad enough to not make it to
Right.
overtime because we ended
How
up
many
just getting
shootouts
the
did we
wins
have
and the
this year?
losses. What?
How many shootouts did we have this year? Maybe like
None.
2?
No, none.
I swear
Was
we
it
had
0?
one. No,
We
I thought we had
we
one.
have 5 bonus points, right? I think that's it.
We call them participation points. Bob.
Right.
I
Right,
s-
I'm
I
sorry.
thought we had
Participation
one.
points.
No, and we have not had a
No,
shootout.
because Chris,
a
that's
shootout
been
this
one
year.
of Chris's.
Yeah, I made
predictions.
that prediction.
Be the
We
first
get the
shootout.
first one.
Wow.
Yeah, only 4 overtime losses actually. That's it. We're
How many times did we go to overtime? 9.
No, we went 4, right?
Well,
No,
no, it's 4 losses. The wins, I don't know. I don't remember
Okay.
that.
Oh yeah, how would we? Yeah, that's not on there. It's just a win. Yeah, but no shootouts yet. So
That's
tomorrow
crazy.
night, like you said though, Dan, the Ranger game on Wednesday could end up being the most important game of the season. Tomorrow night against Buffalo is the most important game of the season right now.
Yeah.
And Buffalo was fighting for their playoff lives, and then they got trounced by Ottawa yesterday. So what kind of mood are they going to be in? You know, that's the other thing. Like, it's you're not going to be playing. There's not going to be an easy game.
It
And
is
this team-
sometimes dangerous playing a team that just got their asses beat.
Yeah, that's what I'm
They
saying.
come out angry. Absolutely.
And too many times we've just seen the slow starts are just, it's going to kill us. If they even made it to the playoffs, that's going to kill them.
I mean, that's when the goaltending has really helped us, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's been good the whole game. Don't get me wrong. Whether it's Allen or, it doesn't matter. They've both been excellent. But really where they've saved us is early on in the games because there's slow starts, like you said. They were really, really flat against Toronto. And Toronto came out and threw, what would they have, 20-something shots in the first period?
25.
Yeah, and they were all high-quality shots. It was like, there's no way we're winning this game like this. But they held us in there enough to do that. So that's, spectacular.
Yeah.
That's what we
And
need.
even when Allen started to let in a couple of goals, you look at the couple of guys that got them. They're pure goal scorers, man. You just can't fault them. They have
Yeah.
a knack for scoring. Austin Matthews and Nylander, was it right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're gonna get their chances, and he still, he kept that team in it.
And
Yep.
if Vanacek or Schmid is in that game, it's 5
blown out.
against in the first period. Easy.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know.
more likely than not. I think you're right.
Read some good news on Schmid down in
Yeah,
Utica. He's only let in 2 goals in the last 3 games, I think, or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
read
just,
an article about some of our guys down in the Adirondack Thunder in the ECHL. These guys are apparently playing great goal. Brodeur, his kid.
Oh,
there
wow.
was a couple of other guys that they had that they've been killing it down there.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that could be fun.
Yeah, this is the same Thunder that we used to play in Trenton.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they were ECHL too. Yeah, I didn't realize that's where they moved.
All right,
Somewhere
so
in New York, Adirondacks.
Adirondack. Yeah, I don't know what Adirondack is. That an actual town? Just
Not that I
mountain
think.
range, right?
I'm not. I don't. Yeah, I think they just mean the Adirondack. It's probably near Lake George or somewhere. Who knows?
All right, so Dan, you have a devil you know tonight.
Oh yeah, I got
And
one,
it's
and it's
not- It's somebody who's played more than 15 games in the NHL.
more than 15 games. Yes,
That's a good
That
thing.
is- that's the first clue. Who's this devil played more than 15 games?
All right, so we are about to dive into the most fun game in Devil Hockey Podcast history. It's time for the Devil You Know.
Shall we play a game?
Buckle up, boys and girls. It is time for the Devil You Know on the Uncle Pucker New Jersey Devil Podcast.
All right, Dan's going to give us clues tonight for a former New Jersey Devil player. Bobby, me, and Tony have to guess. We can get 3 incorrect guesses before we are eliminated. We can ask Dan any question we want. He can or cannot answer it. It is completely up to him. Dan, whenever you're ready.
Okay, this former devil was selected within the top 50 of the 2001 NHL entry draft. And it was not by the New Jersey Devils. This
Okay.
former devil has played on a total of 5 NHL teams.
Is he playing still?
This former devil's
No, he's
retired.
not. Yeah, that would be 23 years in the league.
He's an Iron Man.
The 80s.
Yeah. He played over. I think I told you 5 teams, right? 5 teams.
Mhm.
He shoots left. Primarily been a left wing. Times has played center. He has played in over 900 games in the NHL and over 170 with the Devils.
Stefan Richer.
No,
way
sir.
before
Oh.
2001, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. This former Devil is born and raised in Ontario, province of Ontario. He played junior hockey there as well.
What year was he born?
He didn't give us a birthday.
He was in the 2001 draft. I could look up his birthday if it comes to that.
Early 90s, probably.
Probably.
Mid-90s.
So he also is not a huge guy. He's listed at 5'9", 185.
Who drafted him, Dan?
He was drafted by a team he later went to. One of the last teams he played with, he went back to them, the Los Angeles Kings.
Okay.
And let's see. He was born the same year the Devils came to New Jersey.
82.
82.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Way off.
It's 19 when he got drafted.
Yep. He played for University of Michigan. He was a Wolverine after his junior hockey career. Played U.S. college hockey. And he is unusual in heritage in the NHL in that he is half Italian and half Jewish in his background.
When did he play with the Devils?
He played a total of 3 seasons with the Devils. And those years began in 2014. His last year with the Devils was 2017. So
Mike
14,
Camilleri?
15. Yes, Mike Camilleri
Wow.
is right. Correct.
Nice, good
Very
call,
good.
Bobby.
Good on,
2 in a row.
Nice, Bobby.
Nice, dude.
It's
God,
the last NHL. NHL 14 is the last video game I bought for NHL, and Mike Camilleri is on the team leading
He
the
was
score.
on it.
Caden always plays it. Thank God for keeping old shit.
Remember Blades of Glory? We used to play that all the time at your dorm room or your house, actually, up in Providence. Blades of Glory.
Was it Blades? I remember getting NHL 94 too. Of course, that
NHL 94 too.
was the
Or
one.
maybe
Was it
95
though?
even we
Like
played.
Blade, but I remember '94. But didn't we play Blades like
I think we had a few of them,
addicted to that.
Yeah.
You had the little fat guy, and then you had the skinny guy that just looked like little
Oh, that
boxes.
That's
Wasn't
right.
Well,
that
that's the
like a-
Nintendo one. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
that
old
was
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
One.
Yeah, it might have been Nintendo or Genesis or one of those.
There's like only 3 body types, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the blue helmet. They were like that. Yeah.
But yeah, when and I remember playing the NHL. What game was it?
Probably
Was it
NHL
just-
94 and 95 is the one we
Okay,
played
that's
the most.
yeah. That was a lot of fun.
Well, 94.
Oh, yeah.
That's got everyone into the hockey games. I think I continued to buy them every year after that, but 94 always holds a special place for a lot of people.
Do you still
Chris, you
play
remember-
video games?
No,
Uh-huh.
I mean I got my kid PlayStation 5. Got the most recent NHL, I guess 24. Played him once or twice if he has to play, but yeah, I don't have any time for that.
I'd
It
be
looks so
playing
good
it
though,
every
doesn't
day.
it? Isn't
Yes,
it
it
amazing how
does.
much they've
I'd
evolved?
be playing it every day, dude.
I remember how
Yeah.
high tech NBA Jam looked when they had it next to the sawmill. Remember that, Chris, on the boardwalk? What was it, Lucky Leo's?
Yeah.
That was
And I
fun.
remember it looked back then. It looked like, I mean, to me that was pretty high tech. I remember being like,
Should
wow.
we tell
this-
Tony?
We should tell Tony.
We had NBA Jam in our house.
Oh, really? The actual
What's that?
game
The
machine?
actual
The
Yeah.
actual-
arcade game.
Right next to the pool table
And the pinball machine.
and the pinball machine.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was an awesome friggin'
Pretty sweet.
house.
Well, shit,
yeah.
I remember Dan. I remember you playing Mortal Kombat, man. We would go to that pool hall and you would just
Well,
stand there and play
those
Mortal
fighting
Kombat
games
all
were
fucking
like
night.
so addictive. I would
You would
just
just sit
play
there with a
those
pack of
games all night.
cigarettes, man, and just
Yep.
you would just smoke and had
I don't
quarters
think
lined
there's
up.
ever been a game that has consumed more of our life than the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
That,
Never played
definitely. Oh, we played that a lot,
Dude, we
especially
played-
at that one same house. We were there constantly playing that.
Like
We'd
the
like
minute we
turn on
get
the radio, listen to O&A, just
Yeah.
play that for
The
a couple
minute we
hours.
get home from work,
Yeah.
Opie and Anthony went on, and we would sit down in front of the TV, and then like this is like before we had internet and shit. Because I remember like
Right.
getting the cheat codes. And we had one computer
Oh, I
upstairs,
forgot about
and getting the cheat codes and finding those like perfect balance and unlimited
Right.
everything, dude. It was awesome, man. But that game was so great.
It
Had
was
great
fun.
So I feel like we talked about this like early last season on the podcast too, because I remember we all had like these different special ability, or one was just a little better than the others, like whether it was air tricks or just the racing and the long ride. And so we'd always kind of constantly be battling against each other because there's certain things like you just couldn't beat Dan in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I love
much
that
fun,
game. That was
man.
fun.
that was tough
I thought about getting that game a few months ago. I don't know. I'm like, I wonder if you could still find it and play it. Like, but I never did.
Dan,
all
we didn't
the
even have a
tickets.
game system, did we? At that apartment, we had nothing
I
up
had to
there.
collect all the tapes.
Oh, back there? No, we had nothing. We were lucky we had
That
working
big
TV.
fucking fish on that, the big
Yeah, the
gigantic
marlin,
swordfish,
yeah.
the marlin or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Wow.
Yeah,
Dan, you got addicted to
a lot of stuff.
GoldenEye.
Oh, yeah, GoldenEye.
What did
Brown
you
eye.
say? Matt?
Yeah.
Addicted to brown eye.
Yeah, dude,
No,
GoldenEye
not really
was-
that.
yeah,
GoldenEye,
game.
my brother was better at that than me. He used to constantly light me up with that.
Oh.
Yeah, but Tony Hawk Pro Skater just completely consumed our freaking lives. Man.
That was fun.
It was
That
a
was a
lot
good
of
game.
fun. I would love to find that now and play it. That was a ton of fun.
I know. My brother-in-law has like a bunch of arcade games in his basement. He's got a lot of those old fighting games.
Yeah,
So like I didn't play them forever. And it's all muscle memory. Like I remember, and he like plays this stuff, and I destroyed him. Like it's like I can't not know how to play that anymore. Like it's
Oh my
it's
God, I have the
ingrained, like,
opposite
too many hours.
problem.
Yeah.
Last time I was out traveling for work, we went to one of those places, tons of throwback games and bowling and all that. And I went over to the Mortal Kombat machine. I'm like, here we go, no problem. 1991 all over again. I never seen a quarter go so fast in my life. Or whatever we paid. Dude, I couldn't even throw a punch before I was just a bloody pulp.
when
You know,
I
like
was
the
awful.
computers were always harder. I played in the arcade. Sometimes
yeah.
I'd play on the same quarter for like hours.
yeah,
but
just
because you were
smoked
playing
everybody
people.
there. Yeah,
But the computer was like, maybe you get to the point where you get through it, but it was annoying. Nobody wanted to play the computer.
No, I'm sitting there going like back, forward, button, trying to get Scorpion to throw his little
Yeah.
thing, and all I'm doing is like air punching. Just like, this is going nowhere.
I'll tell you though, you talk about the muscle memory. When I was little, I remember we went away for like a weekend with my family, like the only vacation we ever went to. And the hotel we were staying at had a little arcade, and they had Gyrus. And I played that every night when we got back to the hotel for like 3 nights straight, and I would play for hours. And I hadn't played that game in a long time, and I remember being like a teenager, probably 10, 12 years later, and I got on that game somewhere in one of the arcades, and I remembered every pattern from the boards that I had played, and because all the ships come in different patterns each time, and if you know which way they're coming, you can pick them off right away, and I killed it. To this day, I get in front of Gyrus, I could play it for an hour.
You're like
It's-
Tommy,
yeah.
man.
What's that?
You're like Tommy from the Who,
Yeah, I
It's
can
like your
short
savant
play
ability.
mean Gyrus. That doesn't roll off the tongue.
I never played Gyrus. I don't
Yeah.
remember that game.
Yeah, it was just you were one little ship. You can go completely around the screen 360.
Sounds like
and
Space
all these
Invaders
different
you're talking
it was
about.
basically Space Invaders.
Or no,
but you-
Asteroid, right?
or Space Invaders.
Yeah, Space
but
Invaders.
this-
They were like coming down on you.
Yeah, and Space Invaders you can move all throughout the screen. This you kind of can
Oh,
only
right.
go around, and everything is in the middle, and you just
I
have to
gotcha.
shoot. These aliens.
like
that are
inverted
coming
asteroid,
flying in.
really.
Yeah, it's a very basic game from the 1980s, but that was the same thing. I remembered every pattern from that.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the 7-Elevens used to have the arcade games in them? Like over by where I used to live over in Bricktown, they had like Rolling Thunder, which I used to love that game as a kid, where you had the guys with their hoods and you would just run around shooting each other.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that.
Yes, 7-Eleven had that. Like you would have Frogger there and stuff. It was a whole different time period, man. It was pretty
Yeah,
badass.
my
to
brother
think
just
about it
got
now.
Rolling Thunder. He was telling me about. He got I guess his fiance got him one of those small boxes. I don't know.
Yeah.
People are buying.
I
Those.
wonder, that has to be 82 or 83, some early.
It's old. That was really
because
old,
I was a
yeah.
real little kid playing that.
Yeah.
You go into arcades now, they barely have any games. It's pinball and skee ball and then crane machines as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, I
Is
just
the-
took,
is the
took
boardwalk
my
have-
kid to
still have
Barnacle
stands on it?
Bills. Okay.
Oh, God, that's the same thing, yeah. What's
Does
that,
the
Tom?
boardwalk still have the game stands on it and stuff like it
Oh,
did?
sure.
Like it's all data tape, remove all that stuff.
Yeah, most of them are like dancing games or like these giant crane games. They don't have as many Like maybe they have some of those shooting games, but
Yeah,
not
you'll
like
have
the
a couple
fighting
of big
games.
like driving games that you can sit two
Yeah.
people in and stuff,
Right.
or like those big Jurassic Parks and shit. But mostly it's
It's
cranes.
things you win
speedboat.
points. Things
Yeah.
you win points to trade in for
Exactly.
more of that.
Yeah, that's real popular.
Yeah, Barnacle Bill is the same thing, dude.
Yeah,
it's
so
just
I took
all
my son
tickets.
there. I showed him, like, this is where Grandma used to take us on the beach. This is where she'd give me a couple bucks. I'd walk all the way up here, go to the arcade, but then we're there. I'm like, these games, like, I guess for the kids today, it's still fun because it's still some kind of interactive game, and they always get to leave with something crappy that just winds
Right.
up in a drawer. But it's just totally different.
Yeah,
At least we get air hockey.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
We
still
still
got
have an ongoing air hockey battle, Bob.
They have
I think
those
I'm winning.
yestercades places. Yeah, I took my son to one in Red Bank.
what?
Yestercades.
Mastercade?
It's like a
Oh,
yesterday.
yestercades? Oh, like
Yeah, like
yesterday?
That's all the
yesterday.
older games.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah,
And-
there's one in Asbury, right?
Maybe there's definitely one in Red Bank. That's where I took
Okay.
my kid, and
The pinball museum.
you pay like
Asbury.
$20 an hour or something, and then just go around and play anything for free. And that was kind of cool. I played some of the older games, like that. I totally forgot existed. Like, remember there was an old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game,
Yeah.
Centipede.
like 4 players and shit. Yeah,
Remember Primal Rage?
yes,
Yep.
they had that there too.
That was fun. You
Yeah.
could throw up the
King Kong or
yeah,
Whatever
that was
you are.
fun. And there's a pinball museum in Asbury, and you same thing. It's
Right,
tons and
right.
tons of old pinball. And
That's
you can
awesome.
I
just
have
go
seen
and
that
play
place. I
pinball.
forgot that was there. Yeah.
I love pinball.
I don't understand my problem with pinball and how I could be so bad. It's simple in design.
I
I
I
don't
just suck at
understand.
pinball.
I've never got good at pinball. I always felt like there's an element of luck in pinball that you just can't get around
Yeah.
because the flippers only go out so far.
Right.
So when that ball comes straight through, you're fucked. There's nothing,
Nothing
you
you
can do.
could do. Right.
But everybody's like, "Oh, I'm really good at pinball." Like, are you? Are you? Like, I don't know. I mean, I
I
never
love-
let one go by without hitting the button. But like, come on.
Right.
But
I will
don't
tell
think
you
there's
that
any skill involved.
I did work at a stand on the boardwalk over the balloon. One of my first jobs ever was in Seaside where they throw the darts at the balloons. And it
Yeah,
has
sure.
little tags behind them,
Yeah.
for the total rip off. And I remember, like, my boss even told me, he's like, everything
Wait,
says
you're
small
trying to
behind
tell
it.
us those Carney games in the
Total
boardwalk
rip off,
are
man.
rip-offs?
Everyone is none of them are large. They're
This
all
is shocking.
small prizes.
This is
yeah.
shocking.
But you just have to
Exclusive
stand there.
Uncle Puckers.
Breaking
yeah.
news of the Seaside boardwalk,
Guys,
It's
those
like one of the
boardwalk
first-
games are rigged.
It's one of the
So
first things I
fucking
taught
rigged.
my kids when they were little,
Yeah.
and we'd go down there. Like there's two types of people in this world. There's carnies and rubes. Which one do
That's
you want
right.
to be? You want to go up and play that game? You're a fucking rube. That's it.
Yeah, I would be so disappointed in my kids if they wanted to play those games. I'm like,
Yeah,
you
I would
grew
too.
up here. You don't play those games.
You don't
These
play
are not
these
for you.
games. They're
These
not.
are
What do you
for
pay
the
for those
perks,
games
the
now?
pennies.
They used to be a quarter. What it has to be like
Probably like
$1.50 now.
$10 for
Who
3
knows?
darts.
Even when my kids were little, like I would take them to the arcades over in Seaside and like go to the crane games only
Yeah.
in the off season because
Right.
they'd set them to easier when it was the off season. Like you never drop $1 in from Memorial Day to Labor Day. They have that thing on extremely impossible setting. It's just
Yep.
you can't get it. So we'd go and I'm good at the crane games, but I can't win shit in the summertime. But yeah, we go over in December. I'll win you a ton of shit. But yeah, it's all rigged. Everything.
I used to win some tapes off those Union Jacks when I was little, though. I remember, like, that's how I used to get a lot of my cassettes and all that.
Well, the
off
best thing they
those
had going on the
stands.
boardwalk was this,
Like a
and
quarter.
they don't do this now. Forget about it. Remember that it was like a big like a kickball you had to throw and land in a certain color home
Yeah.
for it on the thing
Yeah.
to win
Yep.
cigarettes.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
if
sure.
you got decent at it, that was a good way to get cigarettes. You almost always did better than buying them.
That's true.
And it was
Yeah.
the best place to get cigarettes at the time.
That's
That's
right,
all
the
over.
cigarette stands. Holy
Yeah.
shit!
We had a cigarette machine in the sawmill. It had the little, I don't know if they still have
I
it.
have
It
a
was like
cigarette
$4.
machine at my work
You guys still have that?
with a legitimate pull the
That's
fucking
cool.
little lever,
Wow.
and it's
Wow.
just as
Crystal
it's around the same price as going to 7-Eleven.
Tom's River Diner had that, too. Remember? That's one of the first ones I
Sure.
remember.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So we got off hockey.
Yeah,
Tone, you got some news?
Sure. Give it a try.
right.
Coming to you live from the Uncle Puckers news desk in a basement somewhere in Lithuania. Sports, politics, current events, and entertainment. It's the news of the day with Tony A.
Tony, with you got the headphones today and the glasses, you look like a newsman. You
Yeah,
look
telling
like
you.
the part.
and I have no pants on. Like they don't.
Of course,
Like all
a
newsmen.
real news.
Yeah, like all newsmen do. No.
Thank you, midget.
And I really-
and now we'll take it to a midget in a bikini.
How do you beat that intro though? You have this amazing intro, then you have to follow that up.
It's impossible.
It's your
Yeah.
problem.
Here we go. But so we'll start here. China. I have no sports news today, but besides opening day today, I don't know if you saw it, Bobby. I know you're the only person that cares about this besides me. But
Bobby's
Yankees
just
won
canceled.
5-4.
Washed it out, man.
Yeah, 5-4 Yankees over Houston. Those cheating son of a bitches. But
Yeah, the Yankees
first,
are.
exactly. A Chinese man drank 1.1 gallons of water and brought it up to serve as a human fountain for a record-breaking 5 minutes and 51 seconds. And I actually saw the video, and this is true. You guys should look it up. 35-year-old Ma Hu downed the water and used his muscle control to regurgitate the liquid and spray from his mouth and break the former record, which was only actually 56 seconds, the original one.
What an overachiever.
Exactly.
Keep going.
I went and watched this
Saturday
video.
record.
I went and watched this video. You should look it up, Chris. Actually, now the guy for 5 minutes he shoots the water out of his mouth. Now with the record, there's actually rules to it.
Where's
Once
the? I'm confused.
I'm just
Yeah.
confused. Like, how did he breathe? Did he not
Yeah,
breathe for
I-
5 minutes?
There's a whole video on it. He drinks 1.1 gallons of water, loads up, and for 5 minutes just as a human fountain.
But
I
how
mean-
does it regurgitate the water back up? He can't hold
He's
a gallon in his mouth.
No, it's in his
No,
stomach.
it's-
He's like,
in
got
his
it
stomach.
coming back up.
How's he regurgitate?
He's like basically a long controlled puke of water. Think about that. That's what it
I
is.
guess you can't eat anything before that, right? Because you can't have anything else coming
No,
out.
yes,
of the
it
no.
won't
water.
be a very nice fountain if you
No,
And there is a rule to it. If you can't dribble, if you dribble, you're done.
Porn or
and-
popping people in the eye. You can't dribble,
You can dribble, and you can't. And once the stream breaks, it's over.
so it has
this
to be a continuous.
That's my
stream.
rules when I take a
continuous
piss.
stream.
Yeah, exactly. That's
You're lucky
exactly.
If I stop, I'm just going to start again.
That's it. You stop, you're done.
Continuous stream.
Exactly.
But
And
this
no
trick dates
dribbling.
back to 17th century, I guess. This whole
Wait, what?
human
Really?
fountain.
People have been
deal.
doing this before modern crazy times?
Yeah, I actually looked up the
People
video
doing
because
that,
I
really,
wanted to
yeah.
make sure it was for real, and it was for real. Yeah, it's-
Okay, so
You get
Well,
involved
I'm
in something
gonna-
like that.
I don't know. I
I
think
don't
I'd get
know.
bored watching it after, I don't know. What was the original record? 58 seconds? About
56 seconds, and he
I mean, like,
just
are there
had
local
5
chapters? Like, where do I get more information?
I'm just amazed that people have that kind of stomach control and like throat control to be able to regurgitate it all without, anything else coming up in it. It's gross.
Can't dribble.
Yeah,
And
that's
dribble. No dribble.
extraordinary.
What's your next
I just
story,
drop water on my chin, taking a sip. Like, I don't know.
Right?
Bobby, you never drink.
Bobby has a drinking problem.
A Florida man had 100.
There we
when it starts
go.
with Florida
Always
man,
the
we always know.
Love it.
A Florida
What do you do?
man had 150 live bugs removed from his nose at a hospital
bugs,
in Jacksonville,
did you say?
Florida.
Yeah,
Bugs.
Bugs.
The unidentified patient went to the hospital when noticing his face felt like it was on fire. The man started experiencing symptoms in October. It wasn't until last week when he decided it got really serious. His lips started swelling. He couldn't talk. And he would whenever he would stand up, his nose would bleed.
Signs
So
that maybe you should go to the hospital earlier.
Right?
Exactly. The doctors were shocked when they looked in the man's sinus cavity and saw a bunch of bugs, basically the size of pinkies.
Size
So
of what?
basically,
Wait,
it's the size
No,
of pinky fingers.
150 the size of pinkies?
Some of them were, and some of them were smaller. It said.
Okay.
There was erosion. Well, they actually went up into the cavity. There was erosion that was occurring near the base of the skull, very close to his eyes and brain. So that's why they had to operate on him. At first, they attempted to suck him out, but they were larval stage.
It sprayed right up his nose.
Yeah.
Did they say how he got these bugs up his nose?
They
kind
never
of
said how he
bugs were
got
these
it, but they
bugs?
actually, it was really bad. They were basically almost going to his brain, and they were there since
Really?
October. Could you imagine that? October?
What kind of bug was it? Was it like an ant or a cockroach or what was
It's
it?
like a little mite, I guess. I don't know, man. They didn't say what kind of bugs they were, but they had a photo
I'm
of the
having
guy's
a hard
nose.
time believing some of them are the size of pinky fingers.
It's what the doctor said, man.
I know it's what the
I do
doctor
find
said.
it hard.
It's
If you
such
think
a
about your
weird unit
nostril cavity, it
of
doesn't seem like
measurement.
it would fit.
Yeah, but what'd you say, Dan?
It's a weird unit of measurement for a doctor to give out. It's about the size
Yeah.
of your pinky finger.
But like, put your pinky next to your nose. Like, even if it got into the cavity, more than one. I don't know. I don't buy that one.
I'm not really a doctor, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night.
You got that going for you.
150 bugs up your
150
nose.
bugs, yeah. And if imagine that
That's disgusting.
October, like if you're feeling that in October, I mean, those things are living inside of you. You know?
Right.
I mean, and they were erosion.
But if it's
actually
Florida-
Skull, they were. It's Jacksonville, yeah.
If you're in Florida and you're the like doctor on call, and the guy comes in and says, "I think I got my face is full of bugs," you probably think it's meth or something,
Right.
because that's just the standard thing, you know.
Yeah,
That's
you-
so
I'm
I'm just
nasty.
thinking early on, like the guy doesn't blow his nose for like 6
Right.
months.
Yeah,
He goes,
he
oh
never
look,
gets
there was a
one of
bug
them
in
out
my
of there.
nose.
Yeah,
I mean, to me, it sounds absolutely
insane.
insane. It's 150 bugs. You don't
It's
know. I don't even
Florida.
understand how it's, but it's yeah. I mean,
It was Florida.
I mean,
Well, there you go.
since
Got more?
October. I mean, that's insane. Yeah,
Tony, you're kind of
27-year-old
our Florida man when you think about it.
I
You
was,
definitely
yeah. I
lived
haven't
in
been there in
Florida.
a while now, though. I've been,
It's still in you.
It's always
can't
in you.
take the
It's always
boy
in
out of
you. You see
Florida.
things there, you'll
Florida
never
boy.
forget. You know,
Yeah.
king of Walmarts. 27-year-old Rosindo Tales from California was arrested for removing evidence from a site where a person was struck by and killed by a train. A disturbing video shows Rosando holding a severed leg and eating from it while wiping his face and walking down the sidewalk. Later on, the video shows him raising it up in the air and waving at law enforcement as they arrived.
First of all, if you're gonna wave a body part at the cops, you wave the arm, you wave the hand,
That'd be nicer.
you
The
know,
leg.
you don't wave the leg. So he just took it and started chomping on it.
Yeah, took the leg
I
from
like
the
the way you
accident.
said it, like eating from it, like eating from it. It was like a
a little
old
too-
way.
I
of
got a
saying
little
it.
too
Just
stoned
walking
before
around
doing
with
the
a
news
fucking
tonight.
leg like a drumstick.
You
I hit the
gave him
bowl
the
too many
apple and he ate
times.
of it. Yeah.
Oh my god.
The current
Now,
county.
there's a guy that you think he's on meth.
Yeah. What about because there was a guy in Miami who
He
ate
probably
the bath
has
salts to
150
face.
bugs in his nose.
Right.
I mean, if you're eating people, the bugs
Yeah,
probably
that's
made him do it.
Inside the fucking leg he was eating.
Yeah, and they finally broke through to the brain like they almost did with this guy in Jacksonville. And now
They turned
he's
him into a
basically
zombie.
exactly he's a zombie controlled
These
by
were
bugs.
zombie bugs.
Yeah, they were plankton-sized, pinky-sized people.
Zombie bugs.
Bugs, and yeah, exactly.
Only thing that makes sense.
Zombie
All right.
bugs. Well, the Kern County Sheriff officer reportedly took him into custody without incident on multiple outstanding warrants. And basically he's arrested for taking evidence from the scene, and I'm sure eating
How
it
many
is probably
people
going to be
do
another.
you think that hopped on this show today to listen to us talk about the Devils have turned us off already? I'm just curious.
You know,
We
who
went
doesn't
from-
like a good cannibalism story?
They
once
were
in a while?
right about to, and then Florida came out.
the video game talk. But the last story today, which I was gonna bring up last week, which I think is a pretty entertaining story. Madonna recently was playing a show at the Kia Forum in California. She was
150
performing and
bugs
began
up her
calling out to fans.
Came out eating a human leg and blowing 150 bugs out of her nose onto the top three clouds. It was
Blowing
like
a-
top three rows. It was like a Gallagher concert. And
Blowing
then she guzzled a
150.
gallon of water and
Puts on a great
5.5 minutes and regurgitated it from her belly and spit it amongst it.
70 years old, the broad could put on a great show.
She's crazy good. Go ahead. I'm sorry,
Wow.
Madonna. What?
Madonna was recently playing a show at the Kia Forum in California. When she was performing, she began to call out fans
California.
calling out fans for sitting down during her performance. Before she realized they
Her
were all
fans are 70
in
years old.
wheelchairs.
What does she think they're going to do?
Oh, she yelled at the wheelchair section.
I guess a paralyzed kid was in a wheelchair. Yeah. So
The
she
kid is
starts.
kind of disrespectful. She came out to see the show
Right.
to
She's-
do a show for them, and this kid can't even stand up.
She said to the fan, "What are you doing sitting down over there?"
Oh my god.
I stand with
What
Madonna
are
on
you
this.
getting sitting down? She said. As she walked over to the side of the
Vet
stage and
sores.
saw the person paralyzed, she noticed and said, "Oh, okay, politically incorrect. Sorry about that. Glad you're
That
here."
was her response.
Wow.
That was
what
her
an apology.
response.
Yeah.
I like how
guess
she
it's
said
Madonna.
she's politically incorrect. Like maybe she was doing some kind of edgy humor that didn't go
Right.
over well. Not that she was just an idiot, right?
Right.
It's like a
Pretty good.
Spinal
You just
Tap movie. Could you
insulted a
imagine?
fucking cripple.
I'm an insult comic. I'm Madonna. You know how I
Why the
work.
hell you all sitting down over there? You know, it's
Right.
like
Oh, poor Madonna.
Good stuff, Tone.
how,
Yeah, that was
how
very
old
good,
is she
though.
now? How old is Miss Madonna
She's
now?
I
got to
don't
be
know.
in her 60s.
Yeah, it's
easily.
probably getting close to 70. I don't know.
Yeah. And my sisters just saw her at MSG like a month ago. So I don't think they were sitting down. Thank God they would have got yelled at.
Yeah, seriously.
Apparently, that's frowned upon at Madonna shows. I'm curious how old Madonna is. Let's see.
I was walking when I came in here, Madonna, but your show is so bad it made me crippled. That's what I would have told her.
What's walking? She's 65.
65.
That's
Wow.
what the internet machine told me. She's 65. So, all right, let's jump a little bit back into hockey. All right.
Yeah.
So right now, curious, just over the Eastern Conference. If the playoffs started right now, I could be wrong, but I think it would be Boston versus Tampa Bay, the New York Rangers versus the Washington Capitals, Pittsburgh versus Carolina, and Toronto versus Florida. Florida and Boston. Boston's won, right, in the Atlantic?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think I'm right. So the first matchup, let's say, is Boston-Tampa. What do you guys think? I think if that ends up being that, Boston's going to be bounced for the second year in a row in the first round.
Okay, so you think Tampa can take Boston out?
I think
Like
Tampa
Florida
can
did
take
last
every team in the Eastern Conference out the way they're playing right now.
Well, they're playing very well, but that would be something, right? See Boston blow it 2 years in a row in the first round after they're setting records, and this year's still looking so damn good. So.
That's why I really want the Rangers to get the top spot in the East because they'd be playing Tampa. Because I think Tampa's pretty much set in on that first wild card spot. I don't think they're going to move off of that too much. So,
Wouldn't the Rangers get the second wild card spot? If they're the top
we
in the
get the
league?
second wild card spot. I said the Tampa's pretty much firmed in on the first wild card spot. Isn't that what I said? If not,
Yeah.
that's what I meant to say. Right. So I'm saying if the Rangers were to, let's say, overtake Boston in points, they would be the number one seed and play the first wild card, which would be Tampa.
Okay, they are right now. They're 100 points. Boston's 99.
Okay, so it would be Rangers Tampa, and again, I say
I'm sorry.
Rangers
I thought
lose.
first the highest points would get the second wild card. That's not how it works to get the first wild
The
card.
highest point gets. Oh no! Wait, you're right. I'm sorry.
So it'd be the Washington Capitals today.
It would be Rangers, Capitals, Boston, Tampa right now.
Right.
We're
But the point
losing
is,
2-0.
we can still shake down either way.
It
We're
could
close
shake
enough.
down. I think Tampa wins the first round, whether they play the Rangers or the Bruins. I think Tampa
Right.
is that good right now.
I'm not
And I
following
think-
them enough to know how that good. I feel like Boston has a better chance of moving on around this year than last year. Nobody saw that coming, but I don't think they're ready to repeat that again. But ask me again in a week for sure.
So right now it'd be Rangers, Washington. I don't know if the Rangers want to play Washington. I don't know if the Rangers want to play Philadelphia right now. If anything, I bet the Rangers are really praying that the Devils make it in.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something? You get into that second wild card spot, maybe the last
would
day
love
of the
that.
season, and you go and play the Rangers in the first round again.
That would be the best.
A
That would be
true
the best.
1-8. That is a true 1-8 game.
And I honestly think that if we are in the shape that we're going to need to be just to get into playoffs, we're going to match up better against the Rangers than you think. And I think that we could do pretty well against them, probably better than who else we could be playing coming in at the bottom half of the in the either the wild card spots.
If we're going to make it to the playoffs, and you make it in that second wild card spot, you're playing Florida, Boston, or the Rangers, possibly Carolina, depending on how things go. So one of
I
those
think I
four.
want the Rangers.
Out of any of them, yeah, I'm with you. I want the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
What about you guys?
Man, I don't know. I don't know that I want the Rangers again in the first round.
Who would you want instead of the possible
that's the problem,
choices
right?
if we got it in?
Number one team I would not want would be the Carolina Hurricanes.
Right,
Never
you
liked the way
made
we
that
played
point.
against them.
That's a good point. I mean, they're tough.
Second team I probably would not want to play would be Florida. So then it's Rangers. Who else could it be?
Boston.
I guess, I would probably take Rangers over Boston.
Which, if you think about it, wanting the Rangers over the other three teams is really ludicrous as a Devil fan because
Sure.
we've beaten the Panthers this year. We've beaten the Bruins this year. Every game we lost against the Hurricanes was by one goal. I think the last game they got an empty netter, but it was by one goal. And I could even be wrong about that. So we are in every game against the Hurricanes. The only team that not just we haven't beaten this year, they have killed us each game, are the Rangers. Yet we all would want them.
I would take the Hurricanes, I think. And the reason why I would take the Hurricanes is because it would take us such a run to get into the playoffs. Like you guys were saying earlier, we would probably be red hot. going against the Hurricanes the first round, I think you have a chance of upsetting them. You know, you're going to be rolling with such thunder going into there because that's the way we would have to get in. Is
We'd be like rolling thunder.
But yeah,
That's
like
right.
rolling thunder, bang, like just like the game.
Kneeling, taking a shot, standing up.
Exactly the
That's
people
right.
can see
That's all
it.
they
It's
can do
exactly
is kneel
that.
down
All you
and
need is
stand
the
up.
hood now. But back then that was breaking. But yeah, I mean, you know, think about it. If we played Carolina off the first, if we got in like the way we'd have to get in, I think we could take them.
You get in the way you have to get in, you could upset any one of those teams.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the truth. And you would be that team that everyone's saying they don't want to play. And everybody would be comparing us to the Florida Panthers of last year. So I don't think you're going to get maybe Boston took Florida a little too lightly, and they ended up getting burned for that. I don't think anybody would take the Devils lightly.
I think Florida's the scariest team right now, if you ask me. You know,
I agree. And I think
So,
it's going to be a
since
all
we're doing
Florida
this-
Eastern Conference final.
Since we're doing this, of course, I'm looking at the daunting task, which is the Washington Capitals with their 2 games in hand on us and
That's
5
a
points.
killer, man.
But
Yep.
they are losing by 2 right now
And this is one of their games
to the
in
Maple
hand.
Leafs. And the Flyers are losing by 2 in the second to the Canadians, and the Islanders and Panthers are tied at 1. The Washington Capitals, for me, that's the one. That's the leapfrog. I think we're right there with Detroit, so as far as I'm concerned, I think we can get past Detroit. Washington just got that extra game in hand and 5 points. That's going to be really hard the way they're playing.
What period is it? Second?
They're all in the second, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, these guys have came back the last 2 games in the third to bite us in the ass, so I'm not getting my hopes up.
No.
But, you know, if the Devils go into Buffalo tomorrow with an opportunity to actually gain ground, oh, they better fucking win, man.
Yeah.
You cannot lay a friggin' egg if these teams do what they need to do. And there's just not enough road to hold serve. You have to make up ground.
Yeah, you said earlier got me thinking because you were like, what's going to happen is we're going to get all the help we need, and then we're going to shit the bed tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're going to get like no help and win tomorrow. Because it's always one or the other, right? It's like we just don't move.
But this is going to tell you what the Devils are made of. If the Flyers lose and the Capitals lose and the Red Wings lose tonight, like everything went your way, it's going to tell us, like we saw all season long, right? The injury bug happens even in game. Like a guy goes down like Jack, right? What does this team do? It crawls into its shell and doesn't fucking fight. And if you have an opportunity, even, you know, back when, you know, the Flyers, we were only a few points behind the Flyers and they lost 5 in a row and we didn't do anything. I think all the time that we made up like 2 points of ground and then we lost it all. So let's see what this team's made of, and let's see how the coaching staff handles these guys moving forward now. Too many times we saw the piss-poor starts that just led into basically the guys giving up, which is just something we've never seen from this Devil team. Not as long as Nico Heischer's been on it. Like, they just never give up. And we've seen it this year. So let's see. If everything goes their way and they come out tomorrow and they just punch Detroit right in the mouth. I mean, if we were playing Detroit, that'd be great. I mean, the Sabres right in the mouth. Like, that would be like, all right, then maybe you start feeling a little bit more optimistic.
And that's been the most inconsistent thing this year is you beat a team like Toronto, you win that game, and then the next game, like we were saying a couple of games ago, if you win this game, you have to come out next and try to be gangbusters. Well, you figure if we get what we need with all these games going on, you would think you have to come out fired up next game. I mean, now this is the time you have to do it, and that's the thing we've been lacking. I think is that we come out flat sometimes when you would expect them to just come out on the ice like, you know.
That's
killers.
what I'm saying. Yeah, the how this team's going to respond now is going to say a lot about them.
So who starts?
That's a good question.
It's a nice question now.
Buffalo, I put Kakko in. He's coming off a shutout. Jake Allen, I like the way they've been using Jake Allen. Like, even when he's not playing, he's not even dressing. Like, there's no chance that they're going to use him. I like that. You know, he seems to really be hitting his fucking prime right now. He's trying to keep him as fresh as possible. And Kakkonen's coming off a shutout. I throw him in.
Yeah, I mean, I think either one of them are very serviceable. They'll do the job. I haven't seen anything that makes me think one of them is going to let you down and you can't trust them.
Tony?
I think either of them. Like, it's great. It's a great dilemma to have. We have both guys who are producing well, and we haven't. Like, it's nice to not be like, well, which guy aren't we going to start because we're afraid he's going to give up 12 goals. Now I feel like each guy has a bit of confidence in. You know,
Your next game's not till Tuesday night.
Well, here, yeah. So let me put it to you this way.
Nice rest.
Who do you want to play the Ranger game?
Allen.
You want Allen to play the Ranger game. So
Yeah.
then you're probably starting Allen tomorrow. Kako against Pittsburgh on Tuesday, so Allen could play the Rangers on Wednesday.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why I asked.
But who would you rather have, Bob? I think Allen, right?
I mean, for the Ranger game or just the next game?
Oh, the Ranger game.
I think I want Allen for the Ranger game, and I like Kako. I think he's great, but I just think that's who I want right now for the Ranger game. So because of that, I think he plays tomorrow.
Well, guys, we know hockey games move fast, but with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you can score faster than anything happening on the ice. And this week, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now with code THPN, and new customers bet just $5 on the NHL and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available. For problem gambling, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See cdkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved. Once again, that's the DraftKings Sportsbook app with code THPN. The crown is yours.
Guys, yours.
The biggest, thing going into this off season is going to be goaltending and getting a goaltender. Now, we know that Allen will be there next year, no matter what. I mean, how good does Kaapo Kakkonen have to be to even be considered to get a contract with this team? Like, do you think there's any chance, or is this dude just strictly 100%, no doubt about it, where he's a rental?
I think he's a rental.
I think there is a possibility. Let's imagine this scenario. They go on a run, and for whatever reason, he becomes a number one. Allen's injured. You have to ride him because he's had a good game and Allen hasn't. And next thing you know, he takes over, and he takes you a lot further in the playoffs. That's going to totally change things. Now, what are the odds of that happening? Well, we don't even think we're necessarily going to get in. So the odds are not great. But in that scenario, you would have to say, okay, wait a second. Maybe we do need this guy. Look what he did for this team. Short of that, just based on his performance now, which has been good, really good, I still think that if you have a shot at some of these other names that we've been hearing about, Ullmark, others, you would probably prefer them over Kakkonen. That's just I think where we're at today.
Yeah.
But that could change because he's on an audition for the whole NHL, and if he proves to have a great playoffs for us for whatever reason, I don't necessarily see that Allen's going down. I'm not saying that. But if he does more than just kind of carry the workload of a tandem acceptably, instead leads the whole team to greater success than we see ahead of us, why wouldn't you want him then?
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's one or the other. I think you couldn't go through this offseason. If you go through the offseason, you start next year, and Tom Fitzgerald just comes out and be like, hey, I like the two goaltenders we have, so I didn't go big game hunting like I said. It's going to get torn apart. And because of that, it just wouldn't make sense. I mean, everything Dan said is true. Right now, I feel like they're trying to play him pretty close to 50-50 or probably more like a 60-40 at least to get them both a lot of reps. So if Kakkonen's the last guy who gets super hot the last few games and then we do make the playoffs and he wins a round or two, I know how that would get extremely difficult. But I just can't see him surviving and lasting here when we're supposed to go out and get that number one guy.
Unfortunately, I think no matter what, you have to walk away from Kaapo Kakkonen at the end of this year. I really do. Anything short of him riding to a Stanley Cup, I think you have to.
And I hated that from the start. The minute Tom said that, right? It was stupid.
And look, he's going to be trying to play his best hockey. He's going to want to sign somewhere. He's going to want to end strong, and somebody that maybe take him as a number one. So he's going to play his ass off. I'm not worried about that just because he's here as a rental. Yeah,
I think the Devils have no plans of keeping him, and I think that you're right, Chris. I think that the market is going to be for a good goalie is such a thing, going on. So if he can have a successful year with the Devils, the end of the year at least, go into free agency, he'll pick up with another team. I think I really do believe Markstrom will wind up here by the next year, by the time we open up the season. I really do believe it.
I just want to touch on this real quick because I've been thinking a lot about this. So I believe that this team needs a big forward on this team, but I also see the way they've been playing these last 5 games, and I'm thinking, you know what, they are playing a little bit more physical, and there are certain guys that I was so down on early on in the year that I can see a little bit of them turning, and the main dude is Jesper Bratt. Now, we touched on it a little bit. If this is the Jesper Bratt we're going to get night in and night out, I want Jesper Bratt on this team for the next X amount of years. I love absolutely, and not only love the way he's playing, I love that he's becoming a much bigger leader in that locker room, and when he's starting to talk more, and he's starting to be more
vocal,
being more vocal, and I'm really liking it. Which leads me to, I'm still want somebody, but maybe it doesn't have to be a big name, a big Brady Tkachuk type trade Jesper Bratt kind of thing. I'm not kind of on that train anymore, but to get a guy like Markstrom, you have to trade. And I'm liking the way that this team looks right now. Like we talked about Alex Holtz, right? I'd like to kind of see Alex Holtz move forward on this team. Don't know if that's possible, but why just say to go for a trade? I think a guy like Laurent Brossoit, who's a free agent, I think he is a number one goalie. And I would be, if they signed him, Bob, I don't know if that goes against your big game hunting with the fans be on him over that, but I look at that dude and think a free agent like that, a big pickup like that, and we don't have to trade maybe necessarily guys like Alex Holtz. Like maybe we can just tweak the things we have to tweak and kind of just keep him in the top 6 to see what he can become for another year or so. I like the idea of a free agent goaltender a lot more than trading away certain guys. Because I kind of see a lot more of an upside with these certain guys in these last 5 games. And you just think, okay, if things are starting to come around and these guys are playing this way, their best hockey's way in front of them. And I want to see it on this team.
That's interesting take. And then I want to add something else back to the goaltending situation too. I might actually like Kähkönen better as a full-time backup than Allen in the long run.
Loves the cock.
I think big into the gas.
Such an easy
it kind of depends on who can handle. If you're getting a true number one, it's going to get a little bit more.
That's what you're trying to say.
Bulk of the games.
The bulk of the
You still got it.
Oh,
Derailed.
That's
derailed completely.
Remember that thought, Bob?
Derailed.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't know if I can
Derailed you.
get back to it though.
We're all right. We got you. Come on. It's a safe
You
space.
got me. Where was I?
Handling the
Cock.
hawk.
Handle the backup role better. If you're talking about a guy who's going to sit a few more games, like Allen's getting hot right now. He likes to play. He wasn't good when he wasn't playing that much. So if you put him as the number
With
2,
the cock.
okay, that's it. End the show.
He likes to play
With the cock.
Cut.
Play with your cock.
No, go ahead.
Getting so he's
I
so
can't.
hot right now. Back up into it.
All right, we're gonna.
No cocks coming out of anybody's mouths here. Go ahead, Bobby.
All right, Bobby, the floor is yours. Safe space. I promise.
Dude, I don't know that I can get back into that.
You got it.
I'm just saying that Kähkönen may serve as a better backup to a true number 1 because he can handle who can handle resting more in between games and not playing as consistently.
Again,
And I do like him as a goalie, and I think he's really good.
That's
and
interesting. I think it was an automatic assumption that it was Jake Allen who would be a backup to whoever. But, depending on how things go over the last couple of games, that's interesting, too.
He's got a easily movable contract.
Yeah, you trade
Allen.
Jake Allen and sign Kähkönen for a couple of years.
Take some money off the books.
It's an interesting take on the cock, Bobby. Yes.
Yes.
I do like the cock. He's a big guy.
You said you like to have the cock behind you too. I noticed that.
All right, before we wrap it
Before
up
you got
tonight,
railed.
Yeah, that was awful.
Before we wrap it up tonight,
Always wrap it up.
what do you guys think about the Buffalo game? I've been married 16 years, dude. That doesn't happen. The sex, I mean.
But the cock does. No. The Buffalo game. We got to win it. I mean, can't blow it.
They're going to come out. They got to come out hot.
I think they're going to come out strong. I think they're going to win the game.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm kind of
Gonna be a
feeling
solid
pretty
game.
positive about this. Yeah, that's what you want to see, right? Nice, solid. 60
I don't
minutes.
care if it's an overtime win. I don't care if They barely win, but I do think that they are going to be super solid, and they're going to give us the results in this game.
I would love that. I think it's very possible. And I think that if the Devils do make the playoffs, and if Kokkinen's like the man, we are going to a playoff game, and we're going to hold up a sign that says cock block. And we're going to be the cock block. You know, like his supporters will be the cock block.
I like it. They have the Brat Pack. He has the cock blocks.
That's right.
I like it.
Your team just
We're going
got
to change
cock blocked.
our whole name, our whole branding strategy.
That's right.
All right,
Be
we're
the
going to wrap it up
Blacks.
for the night, wherever you're listening to us. First of all, thank you for sticking around for an
I don't know
hour
how you
with
did
us
it.
tonight.
Yeah.
We don't know how you
Congratulations.
did it. I had a hard time doing it. So thank you so much for checking us out. We also have some blogs up on theunclepuckers.com. Some little takes on the season and things going on right now. So if you'd like, go check that out. We would really appreciate it. As far as that's pretty much it. Wherever you're listening to us, give us a subscription, a download, a like. We need more downloads. I got an email from the Hockey Podcast Network saying we need more downloads. I'm not kidding about that. Not just us, like the whole network. He was like,
Oh.
it was like a fundraising ad from a fucking political politician, and it was
It's
just,
so typical of a boss.
yeah.
You know, you have
Yeah.
your best quarter ever, and then they still come in and be like, "Can I get a
And then
little more?"
Yeah, you
Yeah.
think you can
Fucker.
come in on Saturday?
Yeah.
Actually, he had a list, too, of things that podcasters can do to get more downloads.
Don't
Okay.
talk about cock.
Cut shows in half.
Oh, everybody would love doing that.
Make
Just
a
cut
part
shows in half.
1 and then a part 2. So we would just randomly end this show 30 minutes in, and then tomorrow we download the rest of it because it's compelling enough that people are going to want to go
Yeah,
back.
people
That would
gonna-
require
people love that.
editing
Once we
capabilities,
have
which we
you
do not
locked in-
have.
Yeah, once we have you locked into this shit show, we got to keep you here. It's that
Right.
simple. We can't let
And here's
you
a
go.
question:
yeah.
How many other shows are doing 3 a week right now?
That
I was
don't know.
actually going to say that we're putting out a little bit more than most shows.
Yeah, and
No,
you
I
know
don't
what?
think it was directed.
I think
at
that
us.
message was directed towards the other guys on the.
Yeah.
on the
Well, I
Hockey
know
Network.
for a fact it wasn't directed towards us for the simple fact that our numbers keep going up every month. So we're
right.
not the ones who are not getting the downloads.
12 downloads.
So
That's pretty
that's
good.
all. And what was some other stuff that he said?
That being said, people go to the website and download all our old shows too.
you can
Guys,
do
why
that.
does anybody download anything? Like, can't you just stream it?
Yeah, of course you can.
You can, yeah.
Yeah.
So why the hell do they want downloads?
I don't
Like, who
understand
cares?
why there isn't a way that you can just see how many people listened or watched your show. Apparently, that way does not
No.
exist.
No,
It's
no,
only
they
for
can.
downloads.
No, they can see
No,
streams, but we can't see.
no. Like for instance, only Spotify can see Spotify's streams, and Amazon or Apple can see their streams. There's no
Right.
way
But
for
they don't
a
share that with
podcast host
everybody.
to
I
know
liked
how many
Buzzsprout.
streams they got all together through every.
We
You
got to
know,
cross the streams.
yeah, you got to cross the
Just
streams.
don't break the stream or you get disqualified.
That's right.
You know, but you remember Chris on Buzz? What was it? Buzzsprout. You can actually see like every place that's downloading it. You can see
Oh, we can
the
do that
formats
on
are
where
down.
we are now.
So
On
you can
now.
see like Spotify, and you can see.
Yeah. I see all the
okay.
countries and how many were downloaded in each.
But that's just the
country.
downloads. That's not the
That-
streams.
It has nothing to do with.
And
the
I'm going to
stream.
tell you the truth. I've listened to a lot of shit, and I don't know how much I've ever downloaded.
I know you've never
just
downloaded your
stream.
show,
No.
right?
I'm talking about stuff I actually listening to.
Touche.
So yeah,
But
just the downloads are
I just
apparently
stream
a big
it.
thing.
Like, where are you that you don't have internet? You know, like I used to have to download shit because I wouldn't get solid internet like on a ride. But
Right.
that was 10 or 12 years ago or something like that.
well, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and this one is the only one I download.
Right.
Just, you know, so I mean, we get quite a few downloads every month, and we appreciate the hell out of all
That's
you guys
great.
are doing it.
I
But the
appreciate
ones that
you
are
guys.
just like streaming it, what are you doing, man? You're screwing us up here.
You
We need the
Download this.
downloads.
Yeah, you just
We just want
download
you
it,
to
you set
download
it, you
stuff.
subscribe, you set it, and then every quarter you can go ahead and get it off your phone. Just leave it there, for the month. We're all
There
good.
you go. Do what Bobby just said. And-
I'd like them to download it, burn it to a CD,
yes.
and then
Floppy
play
disk.
it from a CD. Exactly.
Well,
And
when
that
we
would
go
be
to
the best
full
way to listen.
video, it's all of our stuff. Not only will
Mhm.
be in Rego or wherever you can get a video, it will all
8
be on.
millimeter
It will all
yeah.
be on Laserdisc.
Laserdisc.
Ooh,
Yes.
yes.
We've
Last
got big
week we
plans
had an
ahead, guys.
8-track playing our music. Now we're talking Laserdisc.
The best
Yeah.
picture quality ever.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
On the next show,
Not gonna
I got
miss
to do
that.
some notes. I want to talk about officiating and not just in this sport, but throughout like a few other sports. So I have a bunch of stuff I want to run by you guys. So that'll be we're doing one more show this week. It will be Saturday night after the
Take on those fat
I
cats.
don't think I'm going to be here for it. I got to figure that out. I may be absent.
Your kid will get
Well, it
turned,
might be a
have another
Pucker
birthday.
show.
You don't have to go to the kid's birthday.
Oh wait, that's what you're doing? A friggin' birthday party for your 6-year-old?
Yeah, Saturday we're doing
And you're
that.
gonna
Yeah,
miss
but
the show? Seriously?
well, the problem is that exactly. Well, the problem is my
pressure on
wife
the show to
actually works at
perform.
the. I know, right? My wife works that same night at the hospital 24 hours, so it's just me and the kids all night. So I'm probably ain't gonna miss because of that.
All right.
Have them on the show.
Yeah, we do that. Now,
Have them read your news stories.
You have them read the exactly. Have them
That
read
would be
the news
great.
Stories.
That's
That
the
would
only
we
way.
could have split this show
read it
in
in
3.
Lithuanian.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll do that the next time. Well, because we got to get some more downloads. So we are the Uncle Puckers for Bobby, Dan, Mr. Mom. I'm Chris. We'll see you when we see you.
Puck is out.
Bye-bye.
So you're doing a fun birthday thing on Saturday?
Yeah, we're gonna have her family over here. If we're doing it early in the morning, that's why Friday night.
What if we do the
fucked up.
show late on Saturday? Isn't that like
Because
2 in the
my
morning?
wife will be working overnight.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Tell her to quit.